Hello everyone, Jai Hind and welcome to the platform of StudyIQ IS in English. My name is Bhanwar Singh, Ceramics India 115th course, and I welcome you all on the platform. So let's see if you're live. Please type in the message and let me know that you are watching the session live along with me. And Political Science, good morning. Kundan, hello, and good morning. Who else is here? Please type in the message and let me know that you're watching the session live. And Krishna, good morning. Kundan, good morning. Who else is here? Please type in the message and let me know that you're watching this session live along with me. And Tenu, good morning. All right. All right. So over here, once again, we are live and we'll be doing the complete, the analysis of the Hindu. That is the national, we'll be taking the Delhi edition and we'll be moving ahead and we'll be doing the complete analysis of the important topics that had been featured in our today's The Hindu. All right. Over here. Good morning, Hikaru and Reshma, good morning. And Ramu, good morning. All right. So let's start off with today's session. But before moving ahead, let me tell you that if you are watching this and you want the PDF of the session, you can find the PDF on my Telegram channel. That is at the rate BHANWAR_StudyIQ. So this is the Telegram channel where you can get the complete PDF of the today's Hindu analysis. All right. So let's start off and let's see which are the important topics which had been covered in our today's The Hindu. The first one that we'll be covering is about Israel and Iran, where there had been the renewed strikes as well as the energy security perspective that this complete issue pertains to. The second thing that we'll be discussing today is about India and Oman CEPA, which is the new trade gateway, and ultimately this is the editorial that had been there in our today's The Hindu. All right, then we'll be talking about the SIR judgment as well, the Supreme Court endorsement as well as the electoral roll concerns, again a featured editorial that we'll be discussing, and along with this there are lots of constitutional provisions that we'll be discussing about the particular issue. Good morning, Kika. Then we'll be talking about the India and Bangladesh, the trust deficit. Again, a very important article that we have in our today's newspaper. Then we'll be moving ahead to the NFHS 6. There had been the dropped out, indicators and even the health data gaps that the new, family health survey it pertains to or it shows. Good morning, Chandra. And then we'll be moving ahead to the Great Nicobar Island Development Project. There is a piece of article as well as editorial related to Great Nicobar Island Project. And then we'll be moving ahead to the Census 2027. That is demography, democracy, as well as representation, and why Census 2027 is important. And then we'll be talking about the CIPRI report or the annual report 2026, which says that India's nuclear arsenal and the defense spending, it has increased. So these are the important articles that we'll be discussing in our today's The Hindu analysis. Now, moving ahead to the important thing that we do every time or every day is about the codes which are important for your mains answer writing. So over here, these are the codes. We have the first code that democracy is not merely a form of government. It is primarily a mode of associated living, of conjoined communicated experience. Now, this quote is by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and you can use this while you are framing the answers to your questions related to polity or governance. Then we have the second quote that is, good governance is the art of putting wise thought into prudent action. Now, this relates to good governance, which is a part of your public administration optional as well. And it relates to the polity as well as governance also. Now, the third quote that we have, it summarizes our today's Hindu newspaper. That is, the true development is not measured by the concrete structures alone, but by how securely we anchor the weakest citizens' democratic voice, preserve our ecological commons, and foster regional trust through transparent governance. Now, the third quote, it relates to multiple of the articles that you will find in our today's Hindu, and it summarizes the complete Hindu that we have today. Now, when it comes to true development, it says that it is how securely we anchor the weakest citizens' democratic voice. So this relates to the SIR. This relates to the, the recent, the census that has been conducted. Also, when it comes to preserving our ecological commons, this relates to the Great Nicobar Island project and also the various, where we have the environment versus development debate. And also when it comes to fostering the regional trust through the transparent governance, this is about the recent article that you will find about the trust deficit between India and Bangladesh. I have used the first quote in essay in BPSC 71st mains. That's nice, Chandra. And I'm happy that I'm sharing these codes so that you can all use these codes for your mains answer writing. And good morning, Shinobi. And Good Governance Day, Sushashan Divas is on 25th December. Right. 25th December is basically Good Governance Day. Right. Now, coming to the next important thing that we discuss is about building your vocabulary through the word of the day that has been there or that is there in the Hindu. And over here, we have word of the day that is frugal. Frugal is basically, using only as much money on the food as it is necessary. So basically, it is being economical, it is being thrifty, or it is about saving. So that is frugal. And the usage is he is frugal with his money and saves a little every month. So that is frugal. Now, coming to the first important news that we'll be discussing is, that is, we have the first news about Israel and Iran that have traded strikes and warn each other against any escalation. And there are 24 Indians which had been rescued from the ship after US have attacked the tanker that is Merriwex, a ship that has been sanctioned by the US also. Now, you can relate these articles with another article that we have, and it is Houthis claim missile attack and declare total ban on Israeli ship in the Red Sea. So ultimately, we were seeing that there is the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and now we can see that another blockade is upcoming, and that is the blockade of Bab al-Mandeb. So when it comes to these news, you can see over here that Israel and Iran, they have renewed the strikes after the ceasefire that was there. All right, that was stuck between Iran as well as USA. So after the ceasefire, there were no strikes over Israel, although Israel was continuously bombarding the Lebanon because of the south of the Lebanon that is there. Now over here, they have traded the strikes on 9th of June. Good morning, Sagar. And ultimately, this is the first time since the ceasefire had been, at the place in April 2026. Now, Iran had targeted the Israeli military-linked petrochemical plant in Margdarshan, and also Israel have struck Hezbollah in Lebanon as well. Now, Iran have said that it was hitting the offensive operations, but at the same time warned of the crushing measures if provoked further. And the defense or the offensive had been halted shortly afterwards by the Iran. Also, Iran, when it comes to the recent escalation of the strikes between both the countries, so Indian government have issued the travel advisory for people who are visiting or traveling to Israel and Iran. There had been 24 of the Indian sailors which had been rescued from the US truck, the tanker that is empty Merriwex of the Oman coast. Also, the Houthis, they have declared the total ban on any of the Israeli ship that will be passing from the Red Sea, and that is again threatening another major ship route or the shipping, the route that we have, and ultimately that will impact that $1 trillion of the annual shipping that happens from the Bab al-Mandeb or from the Red Sea. Good morning, Epics. All right. Now, over here, this is very important because when it comes to the ceasefire is quite fragile between both Iran and USA. All right, the ceasefire that was stuck between both the countries, now US has been caught between Israel and as well as Iran deal, because US wants to move forward, and ultimately this is the agenda of Trump, that he wants to struck a deal with Iran. But at the same time, the Israel is continuously bombarding the Lebanon. And there are the proxies of Iran. There is Hezbollah, there is Houthis. Both of them, they are the proxies of Iran. And ultimately, if there is any attack over them, so Iran will not move ahead. And they are the stocks which had been, stalled because of the same reason. Because Israel is continuously, it is bombarding the Lebanon. And that is why Iran have taken a step back. And now we have seen that there is fresh, renewed strikes between both the countries. All right. Also, when it comes to the economy, so after these strikes, the oil has went up by 4%. The Brent is currently at $94, nearly about per barrel. And the Indian diesel recovery or the under recoveries, they are for 30 rupees per liter. Also, when it comes to humanitarian angle, you can see that there are the 24 Indian sailors which had been rescued from the stuck, or US stuck ship that was there in the or of the Oman coast that was basically there. Now over here you can see that this is the map, and again these are the regions which are very important, because when it comes to the region, you can see over here this is Israel, and over here we have Lebanon. Now Israel is bombarding Lebanon continuously, and also there is Iran as well. All right, and these are the southern Lebanon parts, or the regions where the Israel has moved, and it has occupied some of the parts in the southern Lebanon, that is its neighborhood as well. At the same time, when it comes to both the regions, so you can see that this is Red Sea over here. This is Gulf of Aqaba. Please remember it. Again, very important. This is Gulf of Aqaba. This is Gulf of Suez, and then here we have the Suez Canal that connects it, Red Sea, towards the Mediterranean Sea. All right, so over here we have Red Sea, and this over here, this strait that is over here, it is basically Bab al-Mandeb. All right, this is Bab al-Mandeb. Again, very important choke point, because it connects Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, and then we have Gulf of Aden that connects it to the Arabian Sea. All right, and over here we know that this is the Strait of Hormuz that was there in the news right from the February 2026. All right, so again, these two are important choke points when it comes to the connectivity to the Middle East, as well as towards the, ultimately the Red Sea route is very important, because it connects the, the complete Indian Ocean to the European nations. So again, if there is anything that will be, or anything, any hindrances in the Bab al-Mandeb, that will impact the complete connectivity to the European nations, and the ships, they will have to traverse, and they will have to go from the Cape of Good Hope. Ultimately, that will increase the time period of the passages, and even that will increase the economical cost also. All right, Suez Canal, Red Sea, Bab al-Mandeb, and then Gulf of Aden. Yes, that's right. Man, good morning. And Persian Gulf, Hormuz, Gulf of Oman, and Arabian Sea. Right, Krishna. All right, so over here you can see that this is the complete region. Again, very important, because this region had been in the news, and you must have seen that recently there was a question about this in your prelims as well. All right, now coming to the next important news, it is about the CEPA, or the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and Oman, and it says that this is the gateway for the India's export. Now over here, this is very important article, because it shows that the CEPA, or the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and Oman, it has come into the force on 1st of June 2026. And ultimately, when it comes to the top suppliers, so we are the top suppliers for the Oman, and the bilateral trade, it has grown from $8.94 billion in 23-24 to $11.18 billion in 25-26. So again, this is very important when it comes to the CEPA that was struck between India and Oman. Over here, when it comes to the agreement, it has already been enforced, and it came into force from 1st of June 2026. Now, bilateral trade, it has moved up from $8.94 billion to $11.18 billion in 2026. Over here, when it comes to the CEPA agreement, all right, Chabahar Port, Iran, Duqm Port, Oman, and Gwadar Port, Pakistan, right. All right, now when it comes to this CEPA that we have, so Oman has offered the duty-free access to 98.08% on the tariff lines that covers 99.38% of India's exports by value. Now, before the CEPA was struck, there was only 15.33% of India's exports that have entered Oman, and the zero duty, or that was the MFN, or most favored regime that was there. And during that period of time before the CEPA, only 15.33% of India's export, they were duty free, or they were not charged with any of the tariffs. So right now you can see that the trade volume has increased. The tariff lines duty free, they are 98.08%. There is 43% of the India's share when it comes to the woven apparel. And even when it comes to bilateral services trade, it is $863 million. Now over here, when it comes to the important industries that will get benefited, so it is textiles, where there is a 5% tariff, then chemicals, where it is, or it has 39% of the market share, the pharma as well, where there will be fast track of the approvals, and the engineering goods. So these industries, they will benefit from the CEPA that had been stuck between India and Oman. At the same time, there are binding commitments where it comes to IT, when it comes to engineering, and even health and education. Also, the intra-corporate trans-free quotas had been raised, and Ayush, that is the traditional medicine sector in India, that had been recognized by the Oman as well. Now, there will be trade facilitation because when it comes to India's EIC certificates, they will be accepted by Oman, and ultimately the NPOP organic and the halal certifications will be recognized, and this will fast track the perishable customs exports also. And ultimately, when it comes to the Oman port, so there is Sohar, Duqm, and also Salalah. They are the gateway to the GCC or the Gulf nations, and even towards the East Africa also. So when it comes to Oman, you can see that these are the important ports which are located in Oman. There is Salalah port, all right. Along with this, there is Duqm port that you can see over here, and also we have Muscat and even Suhar. These are the important ports along with Suwayak. So these are the important ports which are located in Oman. And again, Oman is important because right now you can see that there is the Strait of Hormuz that is bounded by Iran and Oman. Oman is on the southern side, and over here you can see that there is Musandam Peninsula that overlooks towards the Strait of Hormuz as well. All right, and again you can be asked about these in your prelims as well as in your mains also. So again, these maps are very important. You can see we have Batina coast over here that is located, Muscat. Also you can see over here there is Wahiba sands, basically sand dunes which are found. There is Salt Flat, there is Al Samim as well. And then we have Masira Island. Along with this, there is port of Masira as well that is located over here. There is Muria Islands again, which are located in Oman. Again, these are important things that you can locate on the map itself. Now, coming to the next important news that we have for today, it is about India bloc to take the SIR complaints to CGI and seeks Pradhan's immediate exit. All right, at the same time, there is another editorial that you will find in our today's The Hindu, and it is about the troubling judgment and endorsement of the SIR. Now, again, these two articles, they deal with the SIR and the recent judgment that was passed by the Supreme Court. Now, Supreme Court on May 27, it has upheld that there is the special intensive revision that had been conducted by the ECI. It is basically as per the mandate that had been provided by the Constitution as well as the Representation of People Act, and that was what has been said by the Supreme Court. Musandam Peninsula, part of Oman, separated by UAE. Yes. All right. Now, over here, when it comes to the petition, this was about the electoral rolls or the SIR that was done in Bihar. Now, the petitioner have argued over here that the SIR was done under the wrong legal provision. All right. And ultimately, there were compressed timelines, mass deletions, which are without, proper redressal that this, editorial it talks about. Now, court have over here accepted all the ECI arguments or the Election Commission of India's arguments and conceded that there is authority of the ECI to determine the, when it comes to the determining of the citizenship documents. Now, here again, in the first news, we have seen that the India bloc, it will write to the CGI over the SIR, and there is alleged vote loot. Education Minister Pradhan's resignation had also been demanded. Now, when it comes to the editorial part, it is very important. All right, when it comes to this editorial part, it talks about that the question is basically about the SIR, that under which category the revision of the SIR it falls. All right, whether it is, the court have said that it is traceable to section 21(3) of the Representation of People Act. Now, over here, this section deals with the special revision. All right, this deals with the special revision in any constituency or part of the constituency, but it does not permit an intensive revision, but only the special revision. So basically, SIR is special plus intensive revision. And this editorial says that both of them, they are not possible. All right, special and intensive. Either it could be special revision or it could be the intensive revision that could be done. And over here it says that the careful reading of section 21(2) and 3 of the Representation of People Act 1950 and Rule 25 of Registration of Electors Rule 1960 would reveal that the intensive revision of the role in a state can be undertaken only when general election or by-election is not due. All right, so basically this is about the SIR, and it says that there is inherent clause in the Representation of People Act and also in the Electors Registration Act that is there. And over here, these says that the special revision could be undertaken, but at the same time, intensive cannot be taken or it cannot be done when there is the general election or the by-election which is due. So it cannot be done. All right, so again, this is very important article that you can read in today's The Hindu. Now over here, these are the certain of the provisions which are there when it comes to the statutory as well as constitutional provision. We have Article 325. Now it deals with that there will be one general electoral roll for the constituency and there will be no exclusion based upon the religion, race, caste or sex as well. When it comes to Article 326, it provides us with the right to vote, and it says that the elections in the Lok Sabha and the Assembly that will be on adult suffrage, or it gives the universal adult suffrage or the right to vote that is provided by the Constitution, and it is constitutional as well as legal right. Then comes Article 327. It is where the Parliament has been empowered to legislate on all aspects of the elections. Then we have Article 324, where the Election Commission of India had been instituted. And over here, Election Commission of India is basically to superintend along with to direct and control the various elections which are conducted in the country. Arushi, good morning. Then we have Section 21(2) of the Representation of People Act 1950, which provides for summary or intensive revision that is before the general election or by-election. But at the same time, we have Article or Section 21(3) of the Representation of People Act 1950 that says that special revision could be done in any constituency at any time. But over here, if the special revision is being done, so there has to be the reason that has to be recorded. And then there is Rule 25 of the Electors Rules 1960 that provides that intensive revision could be done under Section 21(2) of the Representation of People Act only. And summary revision before the general election has to be conducted. So that is, or these are the provisions which had been provided in the Representation of People Act. Muhammad Ashraf, good morning. Now over here, again, very, very important that is that you have to be able to, differentiate between both the Representation of People Act, whether it is 1950 or 1951. When it comes to the 1950 Act, the focus was over the preparation of the electoral rolls. And over here, it provides with the voter registration rules. There is delimitation of the constituencies and allocation of the seats that is there, or it is basically the subject matter of Representation of People Act 1950. But when it comes to 1951, the focus is about the conduction of the elections. Here, there are qualification of the candidates which are been given. There is corrupt practices and offences which had been laid down, and also the election dispute mechanism had been laid down by the Representation of People Act 1951. So that is the difference between 1950 Act and 1951 Act that is there. All right. Now coming to the next important news that we have, or the topic that we have, it is about the trust deficit between India and Bangladesh. Yes, Kundan. Now, when it comes to this, so there is the trust deficit in India-Bangladesh ties, it says, and then we have another news that is the BJP team arrives in India for talks with the BSF, that is Border Guards Bangladesh, and the BSF, they will have talks related to the, the recent, the illegal migration that had happened, and again, the remarks over that there is pushing by the BSF, and there will be talks that will be held between the both at the DG level, that is Director General level. Right. Now over here, it is very important that there is, or there had been more than 100 days when there was the new government that was elected in Bangladesh, and it is the BNP government right now which is ruling under Tariq Rahman. Now over here, when it comes to the more than 100 days, so we have seen that the Bangladesh have, it had, when it comes to the relationship with China, when it comes to the relationship with USA, that have improved. But at the same time, during this period, after the change of the regime in the Bangladesh, when it comes to the BNP government, the relationship between India and Bangladesh, they remain strained as of now. Now, over here, it is very important that when it comes to India, India has outreached Bangladesh, and there was External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. He had visited Dhaka in December 2025. Even the Finance Minister Misri, he had carried the Prime Minister Modi's letter in February 2026 as well. All right, so there were two instances when India have outreached Bangladesh, but at the same time, that is not something that Bangladesh is looking for right now. All right, so when it comes to Bangladesh, what Bangladesh actually wants? Bangladesh wants that there should be resumption of the transshipments. Bangladesh wants that there should be full visa restoration and even the reduction of illegal immigration rhetoric that we have seen during the recent elections. So when it comes to the recent elections and the BJP victory in West Bengal and Assam, so there were the rhetoric of the illegal immigration that BJP have used and utilized, and that is one of the bone of contention when it comes to India and Bangladesh issue. Now, when at the same time, when it comes to the another important issue is the Ganga Water Treaty that will expire on 31st December 2026. Now, over here, when it comes to the delay, so delay about renewal of the Ganga Water Treaty between India and Bangladesh, that will affect the Ganges Kobadak irrigation project, and ultimately that will impact the the agriculture sector that is there in Bangladesh. So again, when it comes to Bangladesh, it is very important that Bangladesh wants to renew the Ganga Water Treaty that had been signed between India and Bangladesh in 1996. Bangladesh requests Russia to help it become member of BRICS. Right. Now, over here, Rahman has reportedly considered the visiting of Malaysia and China in late June. Now, this is again, it is signaling that when it comes to the Prime Minister of Bangladesh right now. So, over here, they are not, at the right terms, or they are the strains between the India and Bangladesh that is continuing. That what is this complete newspaper article it signals about. And also when it comes to Rahman, who will be considering the visit to Malaysia and China. So this is where when it comes to India and Bangladesh ties, they signal, or it signals that they are not improving because he is not visiting India. All right, and ultimately that is again kind of things which had been strained between India and Bangladesh after the revival of the illegal immigration rhetoric that we have seen recently. Good morning, Nikki. Over here, when it comes to the uprising, so there was uprising in Bangladesh in August 2024. Before that, there was Sheikh Hasina government, and after the uprising, Sheikh Hasina was ousted and Yunus formed the interim government in Bangladesh in 2024. That was the sentiment when it comes to the Bangladesh. So it was completely anti-India sentiment at that point of time. Now, sorry. Now, when it comes to the retributory steps, so there is transshipment that was stopped by India. Also, there were visa services that were restricted, and Bangladesh linked the rhetoric that is there right now in West Bengal and Assam election towards India and Bangladesh ties. Now, over here, there was a frustration, or there is the right now frustration with the ruling government because there is no advance incentives from India towards Bangladesh. Also, illegal immigration narrative had been seen as a betrayal between the ties of India and Bangladesh. Now, here, Bangladesh is what it is doing. It is exploring China, Malaysia ties, and also there is a pressure that is there for the Ganga River Treaty. And even the Bangladesh wants that there should be a treaty that should be signed between India and Bangladesh over the Teesta River waters as well. So these are the things that India must look forward when it comes to India and Bangladesh ties. And ultimately, when it comes to India, so there is stability that is at risk in the neighborhood. And also the connectivity projects had been stalled. Northeast India security implications are also there because there are various projects which connects Bangladesh to the Northeast region as well. Now, there was, when it comes to the Agartala-Akhora rail link, so this was, installed. So, of course, when it comes to Bangladesh, it is very important for the connectivity that could be maintained with the Northeast India. There is existing Bangladesh railway line that you can see over here from Petropol to Dhaka to Akhora and then Chattogram. All right, this is the complete rail link that is there. Now, over here, the Kolkata or Petropol, so from Petropol, the the rail line that will connect Dhaka, then to Akhora, and then to Agartala. So now this is very important because with the new, when it comes to the new government in the Bangladesh, so these projects, they will be stalled. And if the ties or the, when it comes to the trust, so if there will be trust deficit, so these could not move ahead. India's neighbor turning against India is a serious strategic threat. Hearts to Bhutan. Yes, right. Bhutan will always be towards, or it will always side with India. Now, although when it comes to the another project that is there, it is Kaladan multimodal transit that we have studied and we have discussed it, in the previous sessions as well. So, of course, this is a project that, basically, when it comes to Bangladesh, it, bypasses the Bangladesh route. But again, when it comes to connectivity to the northeast, it is very important because when it comes to the Kaladan multimodal transit, we know that the Myanmar is also not stable right now. So there is instability in Myanmar. And again, we cannot rely on Myanmar as we can rely on Bangladesh. And that is why it is very important that the relationship between India and Bangladesh, they must be, they must be friendly, they must be neutral, and all the problems that are there, they must go away. Has India's traditional neighborhood policy become overly dependent on individual leaders such as Sheikh Hasina? That's, you can say. All right. Now, coming to the next one, it is about what is lost and gained in NFHS Survey 6. Now, over here, this is about the National Family Health Survey, that the data that had been released so far on 29th May 2026, and it has covered 6.8 lakh of the households, but it did not cover the Manipur region. All right. At the same time, when it comes to the gains, so there had been antenatal checks that had been up by 7 points. Then we have institutional births which had increased. There is women internet usage that has also increased, and the health insurance as well that has increased in the country. But at the same time, there are 43 indicators which had been dropped as compared to the previous survey, that is National Family Health Survey 5. There had been net reduction of 30 key missing elements, like for example, anemia, infant mortality, and even the sex ratio at the birth, sanitation, clean cooking, fuel as well. So these are some of the indicators which had been dropped in the recent survey of NFHS 6. Over here, you can see the key changes when it comes to child anemia. So over here, this has not been tracked because it was dropped, and it will be tracked through the diet and biomarker survey. Now, when it comes to child stunting, so over here you can see that this has dropped to nearly 29%. So that is, the child stunting have improved. The spousal violence when it comes to the women, that have also improved, and it has dropped to 22.3%. Now, clean cooking fuel, it has not been tracked. The sanitation access also not tracked, and even the sex ratio at birth had not been tracked. So again, when it comes to these measures, so the clean cooking fuel, that will be a direct measure, or that is a direct measure of the Prime Minister or Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. So again, by tracking the clean cooking fuel, so this could have been important for, a metric for the success of the Ujjwala Yojana. Then at the same time, sanitation access. Over here, now, when it comes to the claims of the ODF or open defecation free status, that will be unverifiable. Also, when it comes to sex ratio at birth, so it has removed the signal on the selective practices in India. And again, that is a very important indicator that had been dropped from the National Family Health Survey. When it comes to modern contraceptions, so they have decreased or they have declined, and also the exclusive breastfeeding also declined significantly. So these are some of the indicators that you can see in the recent NFHS survey that is there. Now over here, you can see that when it comes to institutional deliveries, so they have increased, and ultimately when it comes to the key findings, the public facility deliveries, they fell from 61 to 58.6%. Although when it comes to the institutional deliveries, they have increased. So that means there are more of the deliveries that are happening in the private hospitals. All right, there are more of the deliveries in the private hospitals because public facility deliveries, they have decreased from 61.9 to 58.6%. Now, when it comes to exclusive breastfeeding, that have also declined. And this is a worrying decline. Haryana have recorded the steepest fall when it comes to exclusive breastfeeding. Then when it comes to modern contraceptions, so they have also declined, and the decline is not that much huge. They had been replaced by the traditional methods. When it comes to the overweight women, so it have increased from 24 to 30.7%, and this rate had been across all the states. Also, when it comes to the women's internet usage, that have increased significantly, and from 33.3%, it have increased to 64.3%, where Andhra Pradesh have recorded the largest increase, that is from 21% to 63.6%. So again, these are the key important data that you can remember for the NFHS survey. Now, over here, it is very important that when it comes to the policy formulation and the policy implementation, so these data, they provide the complete feedback for the policies. Now, what happens is that when it comes to the policy, so there is policy implementation, like for example, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Now, there is the data collection that happened through the NFHS or National Family Health Survey. Now, over here, there is the CVED feedback loop, because now there are several factors which had been dropped from the National Family Health Survey, and that will have impact on the evaluation. That will impact the evaluation, because if there will be no proper evaluation of the policy, so you will not be able to correct the policies again. And that is the feedback loop that should be there when it comes to the policy implementation, and that is why this is important. Now, coming to the next important news that we have, it is in the editorial column, and it is about the Great Nicobar project or the transshipment project, and it can get connected to the another important piece of article, that is Nicobar project will enhance the maritime security. Now, over here, we have known that when it comes to the Great Nicobar project, so the total project cost, it has been upped to 91,000 crore rupees, and there will be dual use airport that will be constructed using 13,000 crore rupees. Now, this will be implemented by both, or the investment will be done by Ministry of Defense as well as Ministry of Civil Aviation as well. Now, there are four core components, that is, there is International Container Transshipment Port. Along with this, we have the Greenfield Airport that will be constructed. There is the Naval Air Station, even the township and the power plant that will be constructed at the Great Nicobar, or that is the complete project all about. Now, when it comes to the location, so location is, it is just 40 kilometers from the 6-degree channel. Now, this 6-degree channel is the key shipping lane that connects the Gulf of Aden to the Malacca Strait. Again, a very prominent choke point that is there. Now, when it comes to the earlier, we have discussed about this, that when it comes to a PIB that is under the Finance Ministry, it has said that the port have lagged the strategic objectives. And ultimately, it had been labeled retrofitted by the Ministry of Defense afterwards. And then Ministry of Defense said that this is a strategic port. And later on, by giving it the strategic importance, there were lots of RTIs which were denied because of its strategic location. Now, when it comes to the complete project, so by the officials which are there in the ministry, they have said that only 166 kilometers square of the area had been earmarked for the development. The rest of the more than 81% of the area that will remain under the forest or under the biosphere or under the tribal zones that had been said by the government officials about this complete project. So when it comes to the strategic location, we know that it is in the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and it is in the Great Nicobar, that is the southernmost island of India. Now, it is just 40 kilometers from 6-degree channel and connects the Gulf of Aden with Malacca Strait. Now, when it comes to the port, so there is Galathea Bay that had been selected for the port instead of INS Baz that is located over here. Then also when it comes to the Indian Ocean region, this is very important for the complete region because it is in the midst of the complete Indian Ocean. And also when it comes to the state of Malacca, it is the India's only territory that lies very close to the complete region. Now, by developing the Great Nicobar project, there are certain opportunities, but there are challenges as well. When it comes to 6-degree channel, don't understand. So basically, when it comes to degrees, basically it is 6-degree latitude. So 6-degree latitude, it passes through over here, and the channels are basically the regions that lies between the islands through which the ships, they can sail through basically those channels. And that is what the channel is, political science. Now, over here, the challenges or the opportunities. First, let's discuss the opportunities. So the opportunities is that there will be reduction in the dependence of the foreign transshipment ports which are there. What is a transshipment port? Basically, it is like the ships, they go for a long duration of the voyage. All right. Now, when the ship is going or undertaking the voyage, obviously they have to make small stops. So basically, that is what transshipment ports are for. Now, when it comes to over here, right now, India is dependent upon the transshipment ports of the foreign countries. And if we will have this port, so we will have the reduction in the foreign dependence. Also, there will be the maritime domain awareness. And even when it comes to the Indian Ocean region or the Chinese presence in the region, so there will be increased security and the domain awareness into the region. There will be Indo-Pacific presence and deterrence by constructing this port, and even there will be tourism and the regional connectivity that will get boosted. Now, when it comes to the airport, so airport will be of dual use. That is, it will be used by the military as well as for the civilians as well. But there are challenges. Now, what are the challenges is that there will be irreversible forest loss because of the project, and that will hamper the leatherback turtle nesting sites and even the Nicobar megapode that lives over here. Also, the tribal consent is necessary, and that is the issue. And thereby, there is the PIL that had been filed in the Calcutta High Court as well. Because of this project, the Shompen and the other indigenous communities, they will be impacted by the complete project. When it comes to PIB, it says that the project lacks the commercial viability and there had been no viability gap funding. So again, over here, the risk of the project will be borne by the government itself. And there are environmental clearances which had been withheld under the strategic secrecy, and also high-powered committee report had not been released publicly. So that also pertains to the transparency issues when it comes to the governance and towards the complete port or the project that is there. Now, when it comes over here, you can see that this is the region and you can see the proximity. When it comes to the Great Nicobar, so it is very close over here. This is Port Blair. And right from Port Blair, you can see the distances to the major regions that are there. And that is why India wants to build the transshipment port at Great Nicobar so that we could overlook towards the complete region over here. Now, coming to the next important, yes, dugongs will also be affected. Now, there is another article that is why Census 2027 matters for development, democracy, and representation as well. So, when it comes to this, Census 2027 is right now underway, and there is phase 1 that have started from 1st of April 2026. And this is the 8th census since independence, and 15-year gap had been there because of the COVID-19. That is why, and the elections as well, that is why the census could not be conducted. Now, when it comes to the first ever, we are seeing that this will be the first ever digital census that will be conducted and through the mobile phone itself. All right, there is mobile application, there is self-enumeration portal as well that have been opened, and there are more than 1 crore of the household which have already enrolled through the self-enumeration portal also. Now, when it comes to this census, this will be the first time that there will be caste census that will also be included. And the data will drive the delimitation. It will also drive the reservation policy and even the OBC sub-quota or sub-categorization as well. Now, when it comes to India's population, it has been estimated at 146 crore as per the UN survey. And when it comes to 2011, so it was just 121 crore. Now, it is expected that there will be record 25 to 30 crore rise in the next census or census 2027. Now, the article says why this is important. So, this is important for the democracy because with the census, there will be delimitation that will be conducted after the census. And after the delimitation, it connects with the women reservation that had been linked to the delimitation exercise, and there will be seat reallocation across the various states, and thereby it is important for the democracy. Then there will be caste data that will be connected with the caste census, and that will lead to sub-categorization of other backward classes. There would be the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe reservation quota that will be updated, and there are debates about the new or revised sub-categorization of the other backward classes, and that is Mandal 2.0 debates as well. Now, at the same time, there are development, the census, it connects with the development as well, because ultimately that will lead to the devolution criteria for the Finance Commission, because we know that population is one of the statistics, or population is one of the criteria when it comes to the devolution. There would be targeted welfare delivery when it comes to housing, food and the gas, and even the private sector investment decisions could be taken along with the new data that will be published with the census 2027, right? And then when it comes to the governance, so it will lead to digital data collection. We are seeing that the complete census exercise is properly digital. So there is the deeper disaggregation, dashboards for the scheme verification, and even accountability mechanism that could be laid down with the census 2027, and that is why the census 2027 is quite important. All right? Yes. True, Kundan. Now, when it comes to the next important rule, right, the news that we have, it is India expanded its nuclear arsenal in 2025, says SIPRI. So basically, SIPRI is Stockholm-based, or Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, and it has released its yearbook 2026, and it says the nuclear warheads that India had in 2025, they have increased from 180 that we have in 2025 to nearly about 190 in the early 2026. Now, when it comes to India's nuclear modernization, so we are focusing on the longer range weapons which are capable of reaching the targets across China as well. Now, when it comes to Operation Sindoor, that had been also described in the report, and it says that it was unusual, severe military crisis between the nuclear armed neighborhood, or the nuclear armed India and Pakistan. It says that both India and Pakistan, they had integrated the cyber operations into the active military conflict during the Operation Sindoor for the first time. And again, this shows the changing dynamics of the modern warfare in the Asian countries. Now, over here, when it comes to the India's military expenditure, it says that we had the expenditure of $92.1 billion during the financial year 2025, and that is 8.5 increase. And India is currently the 5th largest globally when it comes to the defense spending after US, China, Russia, and Germany. So over here, these are the key data statistics that you can note, that when it comes to nuclear warheads, they are nearly about 190. The military spending in India is $92.1 billion. We are the largest military spender, the 5th largest, and also the share in the global arms imports is 8.2%. And when it comes to the global nuclear warheads, so there are P9, or we have the nations, the nuclear capable nations, which are there, total 9 nations, and there is total 12,187 warheads in total that are there globally. All right, now it is very important because when it comes to the report, so over here you can see that India's no first use doctrine that came under the pressure when it comes to the Operation Sindoor. All right. At the same time, when it comes to the Pakistan, so Pakistan's first use posture was there, and cyber integration is the new escalation ladder that we have seen during the Operation Sindoor. At the same time, there are all nuclear 9 states which are modernizing their complete arsenal. And again, when it comes to modernizing of the arsenal, or modernizing the technology related to the nuclear weapons, so it is where the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, or the regime that is under this strain right now. India is not the NPT signatory, but also when it comes to the MTCR or the NSG, we are seeker. All right, we seek our participation in MTCR as well as in the NSG as well. When it comes to the economic perspective, you can see that the defense spending is at $92.1 billion. Now, there is push for the indigenization under the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we have seen that when it comes to Atmanirbhar Bharat, there were the delays which were for Tejas Mark 1A, and thereby HAL is also under this scrutiny. When it comes to the ethical perspective, you can see when it comes to the disarmament obligation, so there are 2 different sides. When it comes to the nuclear non-proliferation or disarmament of the nuclear weapons, so there is also the country that India is, that where we have the nuclear arsenal, but that had been maintained because of the deterrence, because we have two nuclear states, and again, both are adversaries, whether it is Pakistan or whether it is China. And thereby, India has maintained its posture that we are only nuclear capable because we want to be a deterrent country and not the active user of the nuclear warheads. Also, there are civilian casualty risk. That is again ethical perspective of the nuclear weapons, and even the cyber warfare norm setting is something that is very, very important, because ultimately this is where the civilian lives could be at the risk. Now, coming to the next important news, this is important for your prelims. All right, this is important for your prelims, and it is about the Zojila Tunnel. Now, when it comes to the Zojila Tunnel, that will connect Kargil to Kashmir. And ultimately, this is again very important. Sorry, Kargil to Leh, not Kashmir, Kargil to Leh. So over here, you can see that this is the route that is there right now. All right, the existing road is over here. You can see that this is the route, and it passes through the Zojila Pass that is there. Now, when it comes to Zojila Pass, that gets closed in winter because of the heavy snowfall. So therefore, there is the all-weather tunnel that is being constructed, and this is from Baltal to Minamarg. So this will be the Zojila Tunnel that will bypass the Zojila Pass, and that is why this is important, because this will be connecting Kargil to Srinagar. All right. All right, I will see. I will ask. All right. Now, when it comes to the next, we have the major earthquake that have struck off the Philippines, and it has killed at least 35, and many are being they are missing. Now, there is a recent earthquake that has struck Philippines, and there is a lot of devastation that had occurred. So we can see that this is the Philippines, and it lies. We have different plates which are at the, they are at the junction. You can say that this is the Philippine plate. All right, this is the Philippine plate. Then we have Marina plate. We have, that is a part of the Pacific plate. There is Amur plate, Yangtze, Sunda, and Carolina. So we have all these plates, and they try the, it is multi-junction. And that is the major reason of the earthquake. When it comes to the earthquake, so we have different types of plate tectonics. All right, we have when it comes to, the plate tectonics, we have the convergent plate, we have divergent plate, and even the conservative plates. So on any of the plate, if there is any movement, that results into the earthquake. All right, and that is the major reason for the earthquake that have struck Philippines. Now, coming to the next important news, it is about new mustard hybrid need diverse farming plans. Now, this is when it comes to the mustard, the new mustard, hybrid. So basically, they are IMI resistant, or you can say imidazolinone resistant varieties that had been developed, or the hybrids had been developed. Basically, these hybrids will overcome the parasitic weed that is there, that is Orobanki. Now, this is a major hurdle when it comes to the the production of the mustard oil or the mustard in India, because this weed, parasitic weed, it kills the mustard plants as well. So these are the important news that you will find in today's newspaper. All right, I will come to this later on political science. All right, when it comes to IBACIO, so we have the plans, we have the batches as well, and I will come to this later on after the the complete session. Now, when it comes to the first question, you can see the first question that you can see in your prelims, and this is where, with reference to the special intensive revision of electoral rolls, consider the following statements. First, Section 21(3) of the Representation of the People Act 1950 provide the statutory basis for the ECI to conduct a special revision of the electoral roll. Then the term special intensive revision is explicitly defined under the Registration of Electors Rule 1960. Then third, the Supreme Court has ruled that the ECI can examine citizenship issues for the purpose of voter rolls, but this determination does not foreclose final citizenship decision by the Ministry of Home Affairs. So which one is incorrect? Sorry, which one is correct? Not incorrect. Right, when it comes to the term, so the term SIR or special intensive revision, it is not explicitly defined within the registration of electors rule, but yes, first and three, they are correct. So therefore, answer will be B, that is 1 and 3 only. Now, coming to the next question, consider the following statements regarding the India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. We have first question, that is, under the agreement, Oman has granted immediate duty-free market access to over 98% of its tariff lines for Indian exports. Then India has excluded sensitive agriculture sectors such as dairy and sugar from tariff concessions under the agreement. Then the CEPA introduces a digital certificate of origin framework enabling the electronic exchange of origin certificates between the two nations. So which of the statement given above are correct? So what will be the correct answer? What will be the right answer here? Here the correct answer is that all of them are true. That is D. That is 1, 2 and 3 will be the right answer. Yes, all are true. Now coming to the next question, consider the following geographical statements. First, the 10-degree channel separates Andaman from the Nicobar Island. Second, the 6-degree channel acts as international maritime boundary separating Great Nicobar Island from Sumatra, Indonesia. Then Galathea Bay, a highly sensitive ecological zone, is located on the northwestern coast of Great Nicobar Island. So what or which of the above statement given above are true? All right, let's see. Third A. Right, third is A, because Galathea Bay is incorrect. It is on not the northwestern, it is in the southeastern coast. It is on the southeastern coast of the Great Nicobar. So therefore, say third is incorrect, but first and second, they are correct. Now coming to the next one, we have with reference to the National Family Health Survey, NFHS, consider the following statements. The total number of key indicators was pruned from 131 in the NFHS 5 to 101 in the preliminary fact sheet of NFHS 6. Second, NFHS 6 preliminary fact sheet completely omitted data on exclusive breastfeeding for infants under 6 months. Then anemia prevalence across all demographic cohorts was removed from NFHS 6 to be tracked separately under the Diet and Biomarker Survey in India, that is DABS 1. Fourth B, that's true. Again, Reshma. So we have B, that is the right answer, because when it comes to the breastfeeding, it is there and it shows that the breastfeeding or the exclusive breastfeeding that have declined. All right, so that is incorrect, but first and third, they are true, and that is the right answer. Now coming to the next question, consider following statements regarding the Census of India. The Census of India is conducted under the provisions of Census Act 1948 and Census Rules 1990. Then the first synchronized decennial census in India was conducted under British administration in 1881. The 16th Indian census, that is Census 2027, will include comprehensive caste enumeration for the first time since independence. So tell me which is correct. Yes, Ramu. Completely omitted is extreme word. Why A? Why not 3? I mean, why not D? It is 16th, 8th after the independence. All right. And it will include comprehensive caste enumeration for the first time since independence. Yes, since independence. Because earlier the caste census that was conducted, it was in 1937. All right. So since independence, it is for the first time. Why you are getting confused? It is total, when it comes to the census, it is 16th census 2027, 8th after the independence. All right. And at the same time, when it comes to the caste enumeration, previously it was done in 1937. All right. And it is the first time that it will be done since independence. So yes, third is also true. We have second also true, first also true. And that is why D will be the right answer. All right. It will be D. Next, these are the questions that you can try for your mains examination. I have given some of the hints as well. The first question is, the Supreme Court judgment endorsing the special intensive revision of electoral rolls has raised serious constitutional concerns. Critically examine the statutory framework of electoral revision and implication of the SIR judgment for India's democratic process. Then coming to the next question over here, this again you can try for your mains. India-Bangladesh relations continue to be weighed down by a trust deficit despite a new government in Dhaka. Analyze the structural challenges and suggest a roadmap for normalization. Then coming to the next question, we have India's energy security is acutely vulnerable to disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz and Red Sea shipping lanes. Examine the structural vulnerabilities and evaluate the policy options available to India. And also, next question, all right. So we have only 3 questions today. All right, so over here, if you are preparing for the civil services 2027, 2028, so then you can enroll into the GS Foundation batch as well on the platform of StudyIQ. And now your question, political science, is about the batch. All right. So let me show you something. Now, when you go on the platform, all right, when you go on the platform, that is StudyIQ. Wait a second. All right. So when you go on the platform of StudyIQ, you go over here, we have studyiq.com. So just browse to this website. Now on this website, you will see that there are different, this is the course, just a second. So over here, you can see that there is UPSC optional, then UPSC Hindi, English, State PCS, Judiciary, Mission Selection, Test Series, and everything that you are seeing over here. Now, when it comes to the, UPSC, so in the UPSC, you will see there's a foundation course. Yes, mission selection. Where is, just a second. So over here, when it comes to mission selection, so when you will go over here, you will find that we have different batches over here, that where you will find that there is the batch for the ACIO as well. Now this is over here, we have RBI grade B, we have UPSC CAPF. Also, then we have the guide for IB ACIO grade 2, that is there, and test series as well. And over here, you can browse that there are all courses in this mission selection, and all the courses which are there, they will be featured over here. Like for example, we have IB ACIO books and test series, that is right now. So we do not have the course that is being planned that we will have in the future. But at the same time, you can see that there is the complete guide, even the test series that is available on the platform of StudyIQ right now. All right, so that is how you can browse the different courses that we have. We have the UPSC courses, UPSC optional, Hindi, English, State PCS, even Judiciary and Mission Selection, where you'll find all these important courses which are there. All right, and again, you can use the code, the same code that is BRS Live, for the maximum discount that you will get on the platform of StudyIQ. All right, so that would be all in this session. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over here. And I will see you tomorrow again at the same time on the platform of StudyIQ IS. All right. Pre and mains covered or not? So political science, you can just browse it. All right. I guess there is just a guide and the test series that is there. But right now there is no course for the IB ACIO. I will ask my team and I will, I will tell you tomorrow in the morning that whether we have the course for the ACIO or not. All right. All right. So that would be all. Thank you everyone for joining me over here. And thank you, Ramu, Arushi, Political Science, Kika, and Hint helps a lot. Thank you, sir. Love the session. Thank you very much, Kika and Krishna, everyone. All right. All right. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Jai Hind. I will see you tomorrow. But do not forget to like the session. Do like the session. Share the session with your friends. And even, subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed yet, so that you do not miss any of the updates in the future. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take